Welcome back. 3 months ago, Ryan Lavarnway joined the show to discuss growing up in California, playing at Yale, and winning a World Series. Today, the 15-year pro ball player is back to talk to me about two big recent things. I am Grayson Knight, and this is Baseball Podcasts Are Fun. Ryan just played with Team Israel in the World Baseball Classic. It's the third time he has represented Team Israel, including the 2017 WBC and the 2019 Olympics. I asked him back in December, I think it was, about what his major league career has been like, and now we're here. We're just going to discuss the amazing WBC, the 3-2 Japan win over USA last week. But last week was also another milestone in Ryan's career. He officially retired from the game that he's been playing since a little kid, Major League Baseball. So how are you doing, Ryan?
Hey, what's up, buddy?
You have a lot going on. So it means so much to me that you're here. 15 years of pro ball, 8 major league teams, World Series ring, the Olympics, and lots and lots of other stuff. But you recently wrote a great article in The Athletic where you talked about your sixth tool was not quitting, and you're really, really good at it too. So why did you decide to retire now?
That's a good question. It's funny that I talked about being able to not quit as I am kind of quitting. To me, I've played my whole life with the dream of getting to the major leagues, and I was able to accomplish that dream in 10 different seasons for 8 different teams. And at this point in my career, I can kind of see where the opportunities are, and I think I have better opportunities outside of my playing career. And on top of that, I also have a baby daughter now who it's a priority for me to try to give her a little stability, let her go to daycare, let her grow up with her cousins. And I really don't want to say goodbye to her for a week every other week as I go on the road. So I'm excited to be in one place for the first time in a long time. And I'm excited to stay in the game in another capacity outside of playing.
So your retirement article really is about hope for players like me, not the biggest, nor the fastest, but we love the game. Did you write it to inspire others, or as a reminder to yourself why you love baseball?
It was kind of both, and I think that you hit the nail on the head. Is it's to me, it's a form of a love letter to the game, and it also is meant to inspire. A lot of people my age, a lot of my teammates, a lot of my peers have retired over the past 5 or 6 years. I was lucky enough to play for a very long time, and as I saw a lot of their announcements, a lot of it was, thank you to my high school coach, thank you to my college coach, all my teammates, my family, my parents, my spouse. And I'm very, very thankful for all the people that have helped me, the people that I've played with, that have coached me, inspired me, supported me along the way. But I wanted to do more than just say thank you to the people that I know, because I can reach out to them personally and I could talk to them and we can reminisce and we could talk about the good times, the bad times. I wanted to write a letter to people that I don't necessarily know and try to make an impact that's greater than just my network and one circle outside of me. So my hope was that people like you or people in high school or maybe the next Ryan Lavarnway or the next whoever, somebody that can have a much greater career than me. If I inspired even just one person, then it was worth it.
You definitely inspired me, that's for sure.
Good. I'm glad.
So in December, I asked you if you knew what would be next for you after baseball. I think I asked you if you'll go into coaching or broadcasting. I know you started a podcast around the new year called Finding the Way, and you told me having a plan B distracts from the plan A. So what's your new plan A?
Great question. You have a very good memory. I guess it helps that it was recorded, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm signed up to do 20 games with the Rockies broadcast team this year. So I'll be doing pregame, postgame shows on TV, maybe some color analysis during the game. And beyond that, we'll see. We'll see. I might look into coaching. I might look into some front office work, keeping my options open. I have some speaking engagements planned. I'm flying to Chicago in a couple days. I spoke today at a local high school. So I'm trying to keep myself busy and spread positivity and encouragement.
So I don't want to put you on the spot, but at the World Baseball Classic in 2026, are you somewhere on the bench for Team Israel?
I certainly hope so. The World Baseball Classic has been amazing, and it's been an incredibly positive experience for me and my family. Representing Israel has been incredibly life changing and positive, also. So I really hope to be involved. Obviously, nobody has made any announcements or invited me to do anything yet. But if I'm asked, I would be more than happy to join.
It'd be really, really cool if you got to manage Team Israel. So let's turn to now this year's World Baseball Classic, which ended last week with Japan's win over USA. I want to ask you a few questions about your team's participation in the Classic as a whole. Is that okay?
Sure.
So Team Israel was in Group D along with the Dominican Republic, Venezuela, Puerto Rico, and Nicaragua. And your pool was played in Miami. So talk to me about the atmosphere down there. On TV, it seemed really, really crazy.
It was an incredible atmosphere. The crowd was so energized and electric. Every game felt like a major league playoff game or better. I was so nervous on the first game I could barely feel my arms and legs. It was so exciting, and the talent that we played against was unbelievable. I would like in 10 or 15 years time to look back and see how many Hall of Famers were on the field in that pool for those games. It was
Oh,
pretty spectacular talent we were playing
mhm.
against.
So every team in Pool D was Hispanic besides Israel, and you guys played in Miami. So did it feel like you guys were the underdogs every single game?
I think it felt like we were underdog. Maybe the Nicaragua game we felt more evenly matched, and that's the game we ended up winning. The other three games certainly we felt like underdogs, and I'm sure the Vegas odds would agree. Um, Certainly the music that was played over the loudspeakers, there was no Israeli music.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly not a lot of music that had English as its first language, but it was it was incredible. The atmosphere, I can't say enough about how cool it was to be a part of that.
Mm-hmm. So can you tell me how like the pools are decided? I think Pool D, like you said, probably has the most talent out of all the pools.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how the pools are decided. Last time we were in the Korea first round and
Okay.
looking at the two Asian pools, uh, I think we would have had a very good chance to make it out of pool play, to make it out of the first round into the quarterfinals. But that's just not the way it worked out this time.
Yeah.
In addition to having tougher teams that we were playing against, I think we were able to recruit better players because it was a smaller ask of American Jewish major leaguers or players that were coming out of spring training. So I know we had Garrett Stubbs, who, if we had played in one of the Asia pools, it would have been harder for him to leave spring training for that much longer. And Jock Peterson the same way with
Yeah.
the Giants camp. And they didn't end up coming, but initially we had Harrison Bader signed up and Kevin
I
Pillar
was about
signed
to,
up.
yeah.
And I think they had some injury worries, maybe, or issues that they were concerned about. So they decided not to come. But I think if we were in one of the Asia pools, they might not have signed up to play in the first place. So it's kind of a double-edged sword of we had a better team, but we played against better teams also.
Hmm. So you just talked about the win over Nicaragua. What was the mood of the team after that win?
We were excited, of course. If nothing else, that win guaranteed that we qualify for the next World Baseball Classic without having to play our way in again. So, especially for those of us that have been there for a long time, for me, it's been 7 years, where we had to qualify for the tournament in 2016. It would have felt devastating to have gone 0-4 and had to start all over and qualify again. So, it was relieving. It was very exciting. I think it was justifying and kind of made us feel like we belonged to be there, even though we got beat in the next three games and we didn't get any hits for a while and or any base runners in the Puerto Rico game. We deserve to be there because we can play with these teams, and we showed it with that win.
Hmm. Yeah, like you said, the rest of the tournament wasn't so great for Team Israel, but you did end up playing against recent former teammate and guest on the show, Anthony Maldonado, even though you didn't face him against Team Puerto Rico.
Yeah, good guy there. I love him.
Hmm. Uh,
Did he tell you our running joke? I always pretend I forgot his name.
why?
When he first got called up to AAA, I was giving him grief. I called him new guy for a couple days, and he took it so personally that that's kind of how locker room nicknames work. Is if you let it roll off your shoulder, it goes away, but if you take it personal, it kind of sticks with you a little bit longer. So I ended up calling him new guy for the rest of the season. It was only a couple months. So much so to the point where our pitching coach said, "Hey, you got Maldi coming in," and I jokingly said, "Who?" And our pitching coach is like, "Oh my God, you have to be kidding me."
We might see him pitch this weekend in Gwinnett. I think
I
I
hope
think I
so.
think they're coming soon.
He's a
Um
talented dude. Yeah, of course.
mhm. So I know this is tough, but like what was the mood after the game against Puerto Rico, and you guys it was an 8 inning perfect game. I'm sure you guys weren't happy about it, but like how was like the mood compared to like the Nicaragua game?
Honestly, it didn't feel like a mercy rule game in which we didn't get any base runners. I know that sounds crazy to say after the fact, but if in the moment, and I think if you look back at that game, there was really just a couple pitches where we had allowed, when we were on defense, when we allowed runners on base, and if we had made one pitch, or if maybe luck had gone a different way, that's a 4-0 ball game, and that you're still within one swing. So we felt like we were in the game really until the end, until it kind of ended, and we were almost like, oh wow, that ended quick, that escalated quickly. Um, but it didn't feel like such a blowout as the scoreboard would indicate.
I always want to know, my dad always wants to know, is bunting like the later innings break up a perfect game? Do you think that should be an unwritten rule? Do you like that rule or don't like that rule?
Well, that's kind of the thing about unwritten rules, isn't it? Is that everyone can have their own opinion because it's not actually in the rule book. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Bunting has never been a part of my game personally, so it's not something that I would do. I think you really want to get a hit. You swing the bat, but if somebody does it, you know, it happens.
Yeah. So last one about your games. Who's your favorite player to compete with or against in the WBC?
Oh man, I gotta say Javi. Javi is just a magician. I
You you almost
I
had him. You
know.
almost
I
had
threw
him.
him out. Well, I did. I threw him out, and the ball beat him, and the tag was perfect. And Javi Baez is the only human being on the planet that could have been safe and avoided that tag. And he's the only human being on the planet who could make Sports Center #1 top play for a slide. For a slide that I think traditional baseball knowledge would say he shouldn't have been trying to steal third with 2 outs and a left-handed batter in the first place. But he's such a talented, special player that it's pretty cool to share a field with him.
Mm-hmm. So as a catcher, I would, if I was in that moment, I'd be like, "Come on, it had to be him."
Yeah, well, so the situation was we had they had a left-handed batter in the box, and we had a left-handed shift going on because shifts were still legal for this tournament because we
Mm-hmm.
played by the 2022 rules. So our third baseman was way, way off the bag. And what Javi did was a delay steal of third. So he shuffled like he wasn't going to go and then took a late break to try to catch us off guard. So when you're watching the highlight, you see me receive the pitch and frame it for a half second and then get up and throw. And you see the third baseman, by the time he gets to the base, he's still at a full sprint and tries to put the tag down in stride. So it's a play that doesn't happen very often. It's a play that, you know, great players like Javi make great plays like only Javi can do.
Uh, all right. Overall viewership for this year's WBC was way up. As a player, did this one feel more special than 2017?
Oh man, that 2017 team, our experience, the way that team bonded, the way that we went on a Cinderella run, it's tough to replicate that. And our my individual experience is different from the two tournaments as being a first time person representing Israel and in a country that I don't know, eating food I don't know, with fans I've never experienced before. So it's hard for me to compare them. What I can say is that this tournament has meant so much to me, and I have known how cool it is for the last 7 years. And I'm so happy that more of the world started to catch on to how cool this tournament is. And I hope it continues to grow and becomes the most popular tournament in any sport in the world.
Several Team USA players said this WBC felt bigger than the World Series. There was, I think, three players, JT Romito, Kyle Schwarber, and Kyle Tucker, who were in last year's 2022 World Series. And they said it was bigger than the World Series, and they felt like it was more exciting, and the fans were more energetic. And do you think that's how you felt too?
There's something to be said for having to win a 7 game series and having to keep your energy up for at least 4 games if one team sweeps, but none of the games are winner take all. The way that they ran this tournament this time was after pool play, every game was winner take all. And you can't duplicate that type of intensity in a 162 game season or in a 7 game series. It's really something special. And I think the way Major League Baseball does the World Series, a best of 7 makes more sense, but the intensity in a winner take all game is unparalleled.
Uh, so that's been really tough for me to decide. I mean, Game 7 of the World Series is huge, but World
Yeah,
Baseball Classic is every 3 to 4 years, and
yeah.
it's been 6 years since the last one.
So
So,
game seven is the only way to duplicate the winner take all game,
mhm,
because that
that
then
is winner take
becomes a
all.
winner take all. Exactly.
So what about the best celebrations you saw? Mexico had a sombrero and Italy had a espresso machine. What fun things did you see, and did Team Israel have one?
You know what? I don't think we had a fun celebration like that, but it would have been cool to try to brainstorm. I loved the so that Puerto Rico had the bleached hair, so they did one of these where they
Mhm.
they dyed hair.
Maldi had it too.
Yep. It seemed like Venezuela was doing something where they looked high and then they looked low. I'm not exactly sure what they were doing, but they were doing that, and the rest of the dugout was matching them. Something probably cooler than I am to understand. I loved the Italy. I loved the hand motions from
Mhm.
Italy. I loved what the United Kingdom did, what Great Britain did with the fake tea celebration, like they were
Oh
dipping
yeah.
the tea. I thought that was fantastic. And then the home run crown and cape, that was pretty cool too.
So I definitely think Major League Baseball needs more of what the WBC had. So I'm trying to think. I know lots of MLB teams do celebrations, like Blue Jays do the jacket, uh the Phillies do the hat. Yeah, I think they should like implement some more celebrations for like for more teams.
Yeah, I think that's probably a team led thing, not coming from the league. So you're gonna have to talk to some player leadership on that one.
Mhm. So any thoughts on why the Dominican Republic couldn't live up to the hype?
Oh man, I don't know. Those I had the Dominican as my favorite going in, but when it comes down to those games, it's really who's hot at the right time. And it's kind of crazy that I would have thought the winner of the tournament might come out of Pool D, and the two teams that came out of Pool D both lost in their first quarterfinal game, and that was it. So all of a sudden, you look back at the tournament and the way it played out, and Pool D almost looks like the weakest pool. When objectively looking at the teams, you would have thought they'd be the strongest.
Hmm. Do you think they mismanaged their pitchers a little bit?
Oh, I wasn't paying enough attention to what the other teams were doing to see who made managerial
Do you know
decisions
who
to
they
answer the
pitched
question.
against you guys?
Oh, I don't remember. I was trying to hit the ball.
Well, there's no doubt the WBC was a big win for baseball. I really hope this year's MLB season can keep some fans uh with that love of baseball, and it doesn't scare away the fans with new pitch clock rules and no shift and stuff like that. But do you think MLB should use those rules in the postseason?
That's a good question. I think what they should do with the pitch clock is use it until maybe the 7th inning, or use it for the regular season and maybe not the postseason. Have you seen the commercial ad campaign
What's
about the
that?
new rules? They have
Oh, I think I
yeah,
saw the Joey Votto one.
yeah, there's some good ones. I think it's a really great campaign that they're doing. And I think the the purpose behind these new rules is to try to make the game faster try to add more offense back into the game. I think what they're trying to do is good for baseball. And I think if the players buy in, then it can be good for baseball. And that's what we really want. We want to give the fans a product that they enjoy. And then when we get to the postseason, let's hopefully everyone's a little bit faster, everyone's built better habits, and then maybe we don't need the clock so much because nobody wants to see the strike called on the clock delay. Nobody wants to see a ball called on the clock delay. We just want to see the same amount of action in less time because it's a better product for the fans that are watching. And even for the players on the field, you look up, you're like, oh my gosh, it's a seventh inning. A couple of years ago, this would have felt like the third. Like this game's flying. The product is better. So if we can get that product without having to see the violations, I think it's a positive.
One thing I wanted to ask you about, I don't know if you saw it or not. I think it was like 2 days ago. But JT Realmuto's ejection. Did you
Oh,
see that?
I did see that. I know that umpire too.
What are you, what are your thoughts on that?
I thought that was a really quick trigger for a very easily made misunderstanding. The umpire had thrown the previous new ball back to the pitcher himself. So when JT reached back for the ball and he didn't feel it right away, he probably thought the umpire was throwing it back himself. But the umpire, when he went to throw it in the glove, he probably thought that JT was unhappy with the strike call and he was trying to show him up in some aspect. I think it was a little bit quick on the trigger, but I can understand both sides.
So I was watching John Boy's breakdown of it, and the umpire literally says, after JT walks away, he's like, "Well, I don't know."
Yeah, I don't think he was trying to be the way he's being perceived now.
Mm-hmm. Ryan, the last thing I want to ask you goes back to your career, 15 years of pro ball, where you spent so much time behind the plate, mentoring pitchers and calling hundreds of games. Besides winning the 2013 World Series with the Red Sox, what are one or two highlights from your amazing time in the game of baseball?
Oh man, for me, on my personal play, my debut with the Reds was really the best game that I ever played, and the reason that game means so much to me is because of what I had to go through to get there. The day before, I had played a game in AAA with the Yankees and then been released after the game. And when I called my agent to see if he asked for that or if he requested a trade, he said, "No, I didn't ask for this. They just released you." And had the timing been different, had other teams not had opportunity for me, that could have been the last game I ever played, and I could have been out of a job. When instead, by the time I went to bed that night, the Reds had called and said, "We're going to put you in the big leagues tomorrow. How quick can you get here?" And we packed up our apartment. We subleased it to the guy that was replacing me on the team. My wife drove the car 8 hours with our full apartments with the stuff in the car and the dog. And I woke up at 6 a.m. to fly and take a physical and learn a new pitching staff and get a uniform and sign a new contract. And then I went out there and had the best game of my life. So that was something that really stands out for me with my personal play and just the peak of the or the valley of the low to the peak of the high in one day. As far as being on a team, some of the teams I was on, especially on the way up through the minors, when I had these teammates that we were all growing as young men and growing in the game and being professionalized all at the same time, those teammates I'm still really close with. And we were good. We had Anthony Rizzo on that team. We had Peter Hissey, Tim Fedorovich, Stephen Fife. We had so many guys that ended up making it to the big leagues that we were all together for a few years in a row, and we made the playoffs every single year. But really, just growing together and going through all that together, those were great times for me.
So I started a new segment this season after we last spoke, where I asked my guests, what would you tell your 13-year-old self if you could? I've gotten a lot of really great answers, but I read in your article that you talked a lot about your high school coach asking the team who was going to bat cleanup, and you responded, "Why not me?" And that became part of your inner self throughout your career. So why should 13-year-olds be asking themselves, "Why not me?" and "Why not now?"
Why not me? Why not now? Why not more? I think that so many people put a limitation on how good they can be or how good they think they are now. And there's so many times that if you just raise your bar of what you even think is possible, you might be able to achieve things that are beyond your wildest dreams. I really think that if you put your mind to it, anybody could be great at what they want to do. And I just want to encourage people to reach for your dreams and go after them, and maybe even try to do more than you think is possible.
Well, thank you. That was great. Thank you so much. I know after reading your article, I'm definitely going to be asking myself those same questions. Thank you for sharing your retirement announcement story with me. It means so much. Did you have fun today?
Of course.
Anything else you want to add or any questions for me? It's been a long time since we talked, so
Oh, I don't know. You're getting older. You're getting bigger. It feels like you've aged like 4 years since the last time I saw you.
it's really been like 4 months though. Yeah. Um, so whatever you do next, I hope you know that I'm going to be paying attention. Can't thank you enough for your kindness and your positivity throughout this episode. Folks, Finding the Way with Ryan Lavarnway can be found wherever you listen to podcasts. Please check it out. And to my listeners, please check out Baseball Podcasts Are Fun on YouTube and Spotify, and go to my Instagram at Baseball Podcasts Are Fun, and to my YouTube and to my website at baseballpodcastaretfun.com. Please join me next week for my season 4 finale, Johnny Damon, MLB legend. You're surprised.
I'm impressed. I love Johnny.
Thank you. Another retired MLB vet, Johnny Damon. Until then, that was Ryan Lavarnway. I'm Grayson Knight, and this is Baseball Podcasts Are Fun. Don't forget to swing for the fences. See ya.